Hey beautiful people, welcome to Fem's World. First of all, thank you so much for your engagement on the last video that I made. I see you all and I do appreciate that. So in today's video, we will be looking at the various reproductive cycles that we go through as women. Yes, this is the menstrual cycle. Although we have the ovarian cycle, but they do occur simultaneously, so we will be looking at them as one. So but before we do that, let's take a brief description of what the main players in the reproductive cycles are. We have the ovaries. These are like the CEOs. They are the ones in charge of maturing the eggs and releasing them, and also controlling hormones like estrogen and progesterone. We have the fallopian tube. This is where the eggs travel and fertilization may happen if there is sexual activity during the fertile window. We have the uterus, where the uterine lining sheds to cause the period. So we have the vagina as well, where the blood bleeds out and all of that. So let's dive right into the cycle. So the menstrual cycle takes about 21 to 35 days. It varies from woman to woman. So some have shorter cycles, 21 days. Some have longer cycles, max 35 days. Right. So the first phase of the menstrual cycle is the menstrual phase. This is the first day you notice a bleeding down there. That is when you start counting your cycle. That is the first day of your cycle, the menstrual phase, and lasts about 3 to 7 days depending on how thick the uterine linings are. That's the endometrium, the upper part of the womb. So how thick it is will determine how long it takes to shed if there was no pregnancy. And then in this phase you begin to notice you have cramps, you're not focused, you have lower energies, you're weak and all of that. This is a sign to your body, telling your body to rest. That's in the menstrual phase. And what's happening? Your uterine lining is shedding because of lower levels of hormones that are not maintaining it, because pregnancy did not happen. So it begins to shed. Now the next phase, which is the second phase, is the follicular phase. The follicular phase also begins on the first day of your cycle. The follicles begin to mature new eggs ready for the next cycle, right? So the follicles begin to mature, ready to be released in the ovulation phase. So in this phase you're beginning to get your energy back, your strength is coming back, your motivation, you begin to think clearer, you are more active in this phase. The third phase is the ovulation phase, and in this phase the ovaries release the eggs. There is an increase in the levels of a particular hormone called the luteinizing hormone. When this hormone spikes, it forces the ovaries to release the eggs. We notice that in this ovulation phase, women tend to be more flirty, outgoing, social, because the body is preparing you to get pregnant. Yeah, the hormones are doing all it can for you to have sex and get pregnant, and that is why some people say I use UK or Conji during ovulation. So that is what happens during the ovulation phase. So the last phase, which is the fourth phase, is called the luteal phase. In this phase your body is now preparing for pregnancy, because the egg has been released. If there was any sexual activity during your fertile window, there are tendencies that you get pregnant. So if pregnancy occurs, we move to pregnancy. But if pregnancy does not occur, we move to the luteal phase, which is the last phase of the cycle. And in this phase all the hormones are dropping, because there is no pregnancy to be maintained by those hormones. So the hormones are dropping. You begin to notice some postmenstrual symptoms like bloating, mood swings, and all of that. So the cycle continues like that. So now back to the question of why some people have a shorter period length and others have a longer period length. So one of the factors that contribute to that is how thick or how thin the endometrium is. The endometrium is the upper part of your womb, the upper part of the uterus that sheds when there is no pregnancy. So how thick or how thin it is will determine the length of the period. Also, lifestyle choices like your diet, stress level, and even smoking or drinking has a way of affecting the cycles. Also, several health conditions like PCOS have a way of affecting the cycle, because women who have PCOS have androgens, male hormones in them, that tend to cause issues with the cycle. Also, thyroid changes is also another condition that affects the cycle. And with this, we've come to the end of today's video. Also, do well to like, share, leave comments, and in the next video we'll have to discuss how to track your ovulation understand your safe and unsafe period, understand your cycle length, in order to do what accurately track your safe period. Do have a nice time and see you in the next video. Thank you.